By now, most of you probably know the story of No Man's Sky, how the game launched, let's call it a bit below expectations, but then, over the course of 10 years and 40 free updates, managed to completely turn things around, to the point that it is now a game with a passionate, dedicated fan base that continues to grow year after year. But how different is the experience of playing No Man's Sky today compared to what it was over nearly a decade ago? Like, what new systems, features, and content types are there that simply didn't exist when it first released? Well, a lot. About 40 updates worth, actually. Thank you to Hello Games for sponsoring this video in celebration of the 10-year anniversary of the game. They're wanting to get the word out that yes, things are a whole lot different than what you might remember, and those differences are what we're going to take a look at here today. Alright, so the premise of No Man's Sky is relatively straightforward. You have got the play space that is literally the size of a universe in which you can explore countless solar systems, visiting each and every planet within. Those planets come in a wide variety of visual appearances, atmospheres, floras, faunas, and other things to discover. Now, when you first start the game, you find yourself waking up on one of said countless planets with some broken equipment and a crashed spaceship. From there, the game guides you to going through the process of repairing these things, gathering resources to create items, refuel components, and maintain survival systems. After some time, when all of your starting equipment is back in working order, you then step into your ship, taking off through the atmosphere and setting out into space. When the game first released, the basic idea was that you would just continue exploring. You would follow a main story quest while checking out different planets, gathering resources, jumping from one system to the next, ultimately trying to get to the center of the universe. And that was kind of it. At its core, No Man's Sky has a survival crafting game foundation, but once you get the basics of gathering, refining, and building down, it turns into more of an exploration adventure title. You will still do some survival stuff for sure, but things become a whole lot easier as you unlock upgrades and increase your tech trees, at which point you're able to really focus on any of the variety of other content that exist. Now, this wasn't really the case at release. No Man's Sky had the core gameplay loop, but didn't have much variety or diversity in its content. You would kind of just fly from planet to planet, and they looked different and had different resources and animals, but there wasn't much in the way of meaningful variation of the stuff that you're doing, the systems to engage with, and the types of content to check out. And that right there is really what has fundamentally changed between then and now. There's just so much more in the game to do today. And this starts pretty much immediately after you finish that intro tutorial sequence. You are then almost bombarded with a plethora of quests directing you to engage in this variety of content. So what kind of content are we talking about? Well, for starters, there are many more new unique locations, points of interest, and activities. Here are some of my personal favorite. You got the crashed freighters. You're going to find these on many planets. These are massive ships that have smashed into the surface and can be scavenged for resources using your terrain manipulator to gain access to them. They come with these special salvage missions that you can complete for unique guild rewards. Speaking of freighters, you also have these haunted derelict freighters. They float adrift in space, so as you're flying through some systems, you'll just come across these. There's also ways to make sure they're gonna spawn in your location, but they're one of many of these space event types that can occur that have been added to the game. But yeah, these are one of my favorites. You actually have to break in by hacking this airlock terminal, and then you, once inside, explore about. It's kind of a spooky atmosphere. You're fighting off enemies and various environmental dangers. This particular thing came in the Desolation, what I refer to as the Dead Space update. You've got alien settlements. These are literal NPC villages on planets that you'll find and can commandeer. You'll have to make choices, helping out citizens, developing structures, and even defending the NPCs of the town from enemy attacks. You can actually eventually become the mayor of multiple settlements, up to 4, and are able to upgrade your buildings to specialize in things like industry or agriculture and settle disputes. You will have inhabitants of your village, like NPCs, getting in arguments about something, and you have to decide what the outcome is. It's kind of hilarious. There's even a faction of enemy pirates in the game, which you're going to have to deal with while exploring space. You've got these things called dreadnought freighters that go around the galaxy attacking merchant ships. You're going to come to the merchant ship rescues, fighting back the pirates and getting special merchant rewards as a result. On the other end of the spectrum, you yourself can become a space pirate. Yes, there is these entire outlaw systems controlled by pirates with rogue space stations, the ability to smuggle contraband and recruit a squad of NPC pirates to fight alongside you. They've got these new archaeology and paleontology systems in the game, so you're going to go around dig sites, unearthing ancient fossils and bones. Sometimes doing so will summon up these stone guardians, one of many different types of what I'll call like bosses that have been added to the game over the years. These mystical stone behemoths aren't too happy with you digging up their ancient relics. But yeah, if you go around, you collect all the right stuff, you can actually even assemble alien fossils in your very own museum, like your own personal museum. There's a companion's pet system, so you can feed and interact with many animals planet-side, turning them into your companion, and these can do all sorts of things. They can act as combat pets, they can dig for treasure, they can even scan for resources. And then sometime after introducing the companion pet system, they added these Pokemon-style battles in the Xeno arenas. So these let you raise, train, and battle alien creatures. This applies to most any creature that you come across while exploring. They all will come with their own unique stats, abilities, and even elemental affinities. You will then battle the Pokemon style pets against those of other NPCs or even other players in these hollow arenas that can be found either in space stations or in the Anomaly. And they added fishing. What else is there to say? There's fishing. You can fish for things, you get different fish, you collect fish, there's all sorts of rewards and special stuff you can get from this here. Well, much more variety in the game across the board. Specifically, there have been multiple updates that added a whole heck of a lot more variety to the different planetary biomes you will encounter. They introduced aquatic environments, gas planets, full water planets, just in general, more planetary diversity, new terrain, new creatures, new color palettes, new weather conditions, new colossal building types, and even massive enemies, and a wide array of new enemies. Many new types of planets, to new types of plants, and new types of enemies to encounter from what the game first had. There are even these things called corrupt worlds, where planets have a chance to become corrupted, which covers the entire planet in this like purple haze, forming giant crystals that sprout from the earth, and this corruption then extends to things like the planet's defense forces, the resources, the buildings, and even the equipment. One of the main enemy factions in the game, the Sentinel, they can become corrupted. There's also new buildings that have puzzles and various valuables, crashed interceptors, secret mining equipment, and a whole lot more. Multiplayer added to the game. That's right, one of the initial omissions from release. Full-blown, proper multiplayer is now in No Man's Sky, and this lets you do just about anything you could do in the game, but now with friends. They've even got weekly community events, unique multiplayer missions with special rewards, and they did add ambient multiplayer, so this isn't multiplayer where you just are going to see other people when you invite your friend to your party. No, you can just be wandering about and come across somebody while you're exploring. In fact, there are now social hubs. They transformed the Space Anomaly into a full-blown social hub location. Anytime you visit the Anomaly, you're going to see tons of other players, up to 32 players to be exact. Many of the multiplayer specific missions can be acquired here. You can visit other player bases. Some of the best ones will be highlighted by the community. And then the tech upgrade system is actually done here at the Anomaly, so it's a reason you'll be visiting often when you first start playing. Lots of new vehicles. So of course there are new spaceships, like they added the freighters, which is like a base of operation out in space. There was a new class of biological ships and a whole bunch of different ship themings and just like types that you can acquire. They also added Exocraft. These are like planet-side traversal vehicles. They come with extra storage, and then also fully controllable mech walkers were added to the game. Speaking of new ship types, the Corvette class ship, and this was a really big one. So this is a ship that you can manually assemble piece by piece. You can invite your friends to join you there. It's a habitable location that can be explored. Previously, ships were something you just had and you would warp into and then you take off and fly in. But now it's its own space. Well, while you're flying through space, you can get out of the cockpit and walk around your ship. Something that wasn't in a release is now in the game. And this is really cool. Fully traversable, three-dimensional interior. You can get up, walk around without actually having to leave the ship. Or now you can also leave the ship. Literally, while you're flying through space, your character can leave and float through space. Given the unrestricted bounds of No Man's Sky, this is just especially cool to see. You're not just taking your ship from one planet to another, landing and then finally getting out. You can get out of these Corvettes whenever you want. You can even hover up in the atmosphere of a planet, get out of the Corvette ship, and skydive down to the planet's surface. Really, really cool system. Base building was added to the game. Now, initially, in its first iteration, there were just like specific locations that you could claim and expand upon. But now it's just full-blown survival crafting base building, how you expect it to be. You place the floor, the walls, and the ceilings. There's all sorts of different stations that you can place down, ones that are for refining, producing, power generation, storage, all of that stuff. In fact, they even added a full-blown farming system where you can grow and harvest crops, which comes with a variety of benefits. Ton of additional like quests and things to progress towards. There are entirely new, I guess, kind of like main storylines associated with each major mechanic and update. Hundreds of hours of additional content here. And then you've got expeditions, which are timed events that take place in specific locations in the game's universe where the whole community is working together to work towards some specific goal. A lot of times these will come with unique rewards, cosmetics, and things like that. And these are on an ever ongoing basis. They're like limited time special events that the whole community participates in. There are many different ways to play the game now with multiple modes. So you've got creative mode if you're looking for pretty much no challenge and you just want to focus on exploration and building. There is survival mode, which comes with many more hazards, smaller inventory, increased cost for things. And then somewhere in the middle is custom, letting you tinker with the settings to adjust the difficulty across the board, akin to what you can do in many survival games. You can ramp up the combat difficulty, reduce the grind. That's usually what I like to do. They even added a hardcore mode, which comes with permadeath, where if you die, it deletes your save. There have been a ton of different quality of life improvements as well, user experience stuff. They also just continue to refine all of the existing things. So every solar system that you would be in would come with a space station. And for a while, they all pretty much looked identical because they were all pretty much identical. But the space stations got more diverse over time with vastly different interiors and exteriors, uniquely customized based on the system, the race, and the locale that the station was found. They added a third-person mode for both on foot and on the ship. With this, there was also some more appearance customization, and they've continued to expand upon this over the years. They've added a catalog, which gives you a detailed record of some of your best discoveries, like the rarest creatures, tallest mountains, most ancient trees that you have found, and a ton of performance, but also visual improvements. Been total visual overhauls with the texture, the lighting, things like post-processing and other effects. Specifically in the Worlds updates, they did some major improvements to the engine and tech of their game to make it all look better. Improved water tech, new volumetrics and atmospherics. You've got rolling fog, rain, blizzards, lava sparks, all of this combining with wind and clouds, which can blow them around. Brand new terrain systems, lighting saw improvements, just everything. More variety, looks better, runs better as well. Yeah, man, No Man's Sky has come quite a long ways since it first released. A lot of changes and additions over the past 10 years, and again, all of which came entirely for free. You buy the base game, everything that's been improved and added to the game has just been added to that base cost. Those are some of the high-level additions, but it even goes deeper than what I covered here. Now is, I guess, I would say, a good a time as ever. Every day is a good a time as ever as it's ever been to check out No Man's Sky because the game simply keeps on improving. If you have yet to play it, it's a really cool, chill space exploration adventure. That's really where this game shines. If you just want a chill experience where you're going around checking out galaxies and checking out some of these different content types, you want to be a pirate, you want to be an explorer, you want to focus on building up your base, you want to go around doing the multiplayer missions, taking on bosses, collecting fossils. There's just so many different avenues and ways you can play the game. It's pretty darn cool. That's all for today. If you like what you saw, we got links below. Thanks for checking out the vid. Thanks for your support, and I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.